Awesome.
And now we are live on Facebook as well. Hello, everyone. Good morning.
Hello. And I'm so low. I don't know why that happens. That's just how Instagram decides to do it. So we're just
I'm
gonna
also
deal with
sitting
it
on
like
a
that.
I'm sitting on a bar stool, so that might be why too.
That's okay. Good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us. Today is episode number 61 of Window Treatment Friday Live, which is our live version of the Window Treatment Friday podcast that Luann and I do every couple of months or so. And Kim, it's wonderful to see you as always.
Good to see you as well, Vita.
I'm excited about today's episode because it's all about sunrooms. In the
Yes.
61 episodes, we have not done much about sunrooms.
No.
So I'm excited to share with our listeners and viewers the different ideas that we have in store for them.
Well, okay.
Without further ado.
Perfect. Okay, so this extension here, I'm doing a little bit of a different approach to the whole sunroom thing. I'm taking the sunroom on the way on the outside of the home, the way we're extending it to the outside. So this particular client of ours is a client that we have down the shore, and they wanted to create like an exterior sunroom from their porch and how
Ah,
to
okay.
treat it. So that's how we're approaching this here. We're doing it from the outside and Vita's doing it from
From
the
the inside.
inside. Okay, so with this client, they had this porch area that they wanted to create shading. So what we did was we installed these stationary awnings to help keep,
Ah, okay.
yes. So that's what these little black awnings are. So they
Got it.
don't move. Yeah, they don't move, and they create shade from the sun in this little porch area. So this is the outside area of it. And then the next slide.
Okay, let's make sure that I put them in the right order.
Okay.
No, they're
Oh,
not. Okay, hang on just one
it was
second. Yep, I can make it work. So tell me which one would you like next? This
next,
one?
that one right
Uh-huh.
there. So now you can see it from the inside. So you
Okay,
can see
perfect.
here how they still wanted to be able to see out. And with that, but they wanted to block out the sun because the sun was coming in from the optimal from the top. So
Mm,
that's always the tricky part with like sunrooms and sun porches and things like that, where you still want to have your view. You don't want to block it off completely. And how do you treat it so that this way, um, what's a good solution? So for this particular client, it was just a matter of blocking the sun that comes from the top angle.
mhm.
And so these awnings not only create a decorative element, they also create the shade.
Very nice. And so are they movable? Are they stationary?
They're
What's the deal there?
stationary. They're completely stationary. They're called they are, yeah, just a stationary awning.
Mhm.
The nice part about that is that you're able to pick how far down you want to take them, and
Okay.
then the angle in which it projects out.
So
So
that is there a metal arm that holds
yes,
them out from the building?
yes. So it's almost like a rod pocket, if you will, for like drapery terms. So there's a rod at the top
Mhm.
that you install it to the actual structure, and then there are arms that come sticking out. So this way, and
Yep.
then your awning attaches that way.
Yep.
So though you also have the ability to pick out like how far you want the awning to project out. The closer it is, the flatter it's going to look to the
Sure.
home. Or you so with this particular client, they wanted it tighter to the posts so that this
Mhm.
way it wasn't sticking out too far because it is a staircase coming in and out to the porch. And yeah, so that's how.
So how do you decide how far out that bottom arm, how far out it projects?
It all depends on the angle that you want the awning to be.
And so how do you decide what angle do you want the awning to be?
It's a matter of the shade, and so I think there are a couple of standard, like, it isn't something that it's super, super custom. I believe that there are a couple of different ways that you can,
Ah,
yeah.
okay.
So
So
it's not like,
predetermined
yeah, it's
projection.
yeah, so it's not like, "I want, 10 and 3/4 on this one." No, no, there are predetermined sizes on the arms.
Okay. All right. Very cool. I like it. I like that you picked the black color. I think it works
Mhm.
really nicely with the outside of the home. And you have those red cushions inside, whether you did them or not, but like red and black always work well together. So this was nicely designed for aesthetic and function, I
Yes.
think. Nicely done, Kim. All right. So let me see if I can, um,
There
I'm
you
gonna
go.
There I am. Okay, so my approach is on the inside. Okay, so this was a sunroom that we did a few years ago. It was actually a design house in Delaware County, so a bit a ways from us, about an hour ways from us, south of kind of southwest, I guess, of Philadelphia. And we got this sunroom, and we wanted to make it fun and colorful, joyous. Just when somebody comes in, we wanted them to see lots of color, and wanted it to evoke just really fun and
Mhm.
enjoyment and joy. So that's how we kind of arrived at all these different colors. We had lots of windows there, as most sunrooms do. So we opted for these pretty valances. And here I have a close-up of this valance. So this is what we call an open Kingston valance.
Mhm.
And it's open because it's not mounted on the board. So you have these scoops at the top. They're not connected to the board, and therefore they leave that opening between where it's mounted and where the scoop is. Also, because it's not mounted to the board, we had to figure out creative ways of mounting them. So we actually used very cute finials. So the finials are
Oh.
screwed into the wall, and then the valance is tied to the finial with just shoelace ties. Well, I mean, they're not quite shoelaces, but we
That's what we
made
call
them like that's what it's called. Right, right, right. So
it.
we used that orange fabric that we used in the contrasting banding at the top and the
Mhm.
bottom, and we created those laces, and we tied them up and kind of tucked them behind, so you really don't really see those laces at all.
Mm.
And the the fabric is from Cravat. I think both fabrics are actually from Cravat, but it is from a few years ago, so I'm not even sure if that still exists. And again, we just went for something fun and enjoyable and cheeky. Lots of contrasting colors there. And I actually still have, we had to take, I think a couple of valances were bought,
Mhm.
but a couple of valances were left over. So I had one, and I put it up in my daughter's room. So I look at this valance every day.
Oh,
That's
that's
right.
so cool. Well, you have to show us what it looks like in your daughter's room.
I will definitely. Next time we do kids'
Mhm.
rooms, maybe I'll do
Yeah,
my kids' rooms.
yes.
If they clean up, if I can make them clean up. Or I'll
That's
do little vignettes
yeah.
around so you don't see the toys and paint and everything else that happens in, in little kids' rooms.
Now, just let's talk about, like, the proportions of the valance, and the predetermining of, like, from the dimension from post to post. Are
Hmm.
these are all conversations that you're having with the designers and whatnot on how far you want, or how deep you want the swoops to be and things like that?
Exactly. That's exactly right, Kim, and thank you for bringing it up. I feel like we say it almost on every episode. None of this is by accident, and
Mm.
every single detail is by design.
Oh,
So where the finial is positioned is aligned with the mullion. So
mhm, I
that's
just
something that
noticed
we would
that, yep.
recommend to
Mm,
any designer for any project. You also always want to take a window and work within the architecture of that window, and that usually means aligning something with mullions, whether it is placement of your brackets if there is a rod, whether it's placement of these finials in
mm,
this particular situation, whether it's placement of the seams if it's a, let's say, a Roman shade that needs to be seamed. You
mhm,
always want to work within the architecture of the window. So that's exactly what we did here. So every scoop is positioned between the mullion, which is exactly where those finials are mounted. And as far as the proportion of the length of it, so these were really tall windows. So these valances are not short. So between
mm,
the top point of the finial and the long point of the valance, there's probably good 20 to 22
mhm.
inches, which is on the longer side.
Yeah,
Usually a good proportion for a valance is around 18
team.
inches. And then you go either lower to about 15 or so, or higher to about 20, 22. I've done valances at 25, sometimes even at 30, but those are very, very unique and special situations that
Tall
called for that
ceilings,
kind of
yeah.
proportion, like tall ceiling or
Ceilings,
low window or weird thing happening at the top that we needed to cover.
yeah. So
But
that's yeah,
to your point, none of it is by chance, none of it is
no.
by accident. They're all either conversations or thinking through, well, not or conversations and thinking it through
Yeah,
and engineering it and designing it and making sure that it looks right, and not just like, oh, let me just make a valance that's 18 inches and then you slop it up there and you're like, oh, well, that does not look good. I really should have thought about it some
Should have
more.
been 2 inches too longer. Yeah, no. And that's the beauty part too about going with custom, is that it really is tailored to whatever your unique window situation is.
Yep, always. All right, Kim, let's see. Which one would you like to go next?
Okay, we can do
This one?
that. Yep, this is one we just did
Perfect.
2 days ago, actually. So I thought it was a pretty
So
interesting
new.
product and a
Mhm.
different approach. So this particular client wanted to extend, which we're often seeing a lot right now, that they want to, extend the interior of their home out,
Yeah.
especially with the pandemic and everything else and all of us kind of being cooped up in our homes, we're getting big requests where they want to be able to transform their outer space, whether their house doesn't have a sunroom, but they want to create some type of a sunroom. So in this situation, this client had her contractor build the white pergola structure, and we put a
Mhm.
pinnacle awning on top. So it
Ah,
is, yeah, so it is a flat awning that creates a kind of roof-like structure that you can sit underneath your pergola and shade from the sun, and I believe the rain as well. So again,
mm,
it's giving you an extension on the house. It's
mhm.
creating that sunroom that this home did not have.
Yep.
You don't have those options. Like, I don't have a sunroom. I would love a sunroom in my home, but to just be able to sit and read. So I have a very nice patio, but when it rains, you have to come inside, and if you live on the East Coast, we do have a lot of rainy summers sometimes.
Like we did last night, the
Yes,
big
we
storm.
did. We had a big, big storm last night.
We had a tornado hit here in Bucks County.
I heard about that
Yeah,
on the
cars
news.
turn over,
Yeah.
like, it hit a, car dealership apparently. It's
Yes,
crazy.
yes, I saw that on the news last night after the Olympics. They said we were also getting a lot of tornado warnings,
Mhm.
as well in Morris County. A girlfriend of mine was freaking out. She didn't have a basement. She's like, "Where do I go?" I'm like, "Under the table." I'm like, "Grab your kids and go under the table if it gets bad." But anyway, so yeah, so this is a way that you can. It's all about being unique and thinking out of the box kind of thing,
Yep.
where bringing the inside out. And we do this a lot with a lot of the Genius awnings that we've been doing a lot lately for that same exact purpose, is that you want to create a whole additional like outside room.
So, talk to us, does the awning retract back,
So what
or is
happens
it
is it's not,
stationary on
it,
top?
no, it is retract. You can retract back. So it's almost like if you were to take like a cassette roller shade, right? And it has a cassette at the end and a
So it
bottom
rolls
bar.
into
So it
it?
rolls
Yeah,
back. Yeah. So then that way, when you want to have the sun and you
sweet.
want to, be able to, not, if you don't need the shade, depending on the sun positioning, you can retract the awning back. It has guide rails
Okay,
on the side. And
yep.
then when need the shade or protection of, light rain, you just bring it on over and it covers the entire
And it's okay to keep it in the rain?
I light rain, light rain. You
Light
don't
rain.
want, yeah, not
So
like
not
heavy.
last night's rain, not the
No,
torrential
no. Like a
thunderstorms.
little misty type of rain, but not like a torrential downpour type rain. No, no, no. So this is
Got
it
it.
from one angle and this is it from the other
Uh-huh.
angle. So now you can actually see the cassette in which it retracts back into.
Oh, I see. So this is what we saw before was from the
It's
front.
from the
This
front.
is from the front,
Mhm.
and this is from the
From the,
back.
yeah. So from
Oh, from the
side,
side. Does it
from
go
the
on the
side.
s
Yeah. So it,
Okay,
it, it
okay,
shades like,
okay,
so
so
this.
it's mounted on the side and goes this way.
Yes. So like a regular retractable awning comes off the home this way. This goes side to
Yeah,
side. Yeah.
yeah. Is my connection wacky?
You're spinning on Instagram
I'm
a little bit.
spinning.
There you go. There you go. I think we're good. Okay. No, you're moving. You're moving. You're moving.
I'm spinning. Alright,
All
okay.
right. God
Anything
love.
else you wanna tell us about this?
No, I just thought it was a really cool, interesting
Super cool.
project that we just finished, and I thought, you know what? Let's just highlight it.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's like if you don't have a sunroom, create one.
Right. Exactly.
Sounds like any life or business advice. If you don't
Yeah.
have an opportunity, just make one up.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, let's see what we have next. Okay, so next we have a project of ours here by Vitalia Inc. This is clearly a sunroom. This was off of a kitchen, so they're also using this as a breakfast room. And we did a simple valance here. The privacy wasn't an issue. The light control necessarily. They weren't watching any TVs here or anything like that. So we didn't have to put anything on the windows as far as shading or blinds or
Hmm.
anything like that. So we just wanted to dress it up a little bit so it's not just a wall of windows and in this case a roof of windows.
Yeah.
So we created a sweet little valance. It's fairly simple in its construction because it's a straight valance with inverted pleating. However, the engineering of it and the thinking through and the design of it is not so simple because just like we talked about the previous picture, and I feel like we say every episode, it's not by accident that you see the big part of the repeat smack in the center of each window. And it's not an accident that you see that kick pleat or the inverted pleat rather, right aligned with the mullion. So
Yes.
none of it is by accident. That's exactly how we thought about it, how we designed it, how we ordered the fabric, because this is a very large repeat. I think this
Mhm.
was like 27 by
Oof.
35, like one of those, really fancy. I don't remember exactly what the vendor was, but one of those fancy fabrics with large repeats. So we wanted to utilize it properly and really leverage the beauty of the fabric and
Hmm.
showcase it in the valance. So think about it, if we didn't think of it that way
Oof.
and didn't order the proper yardage, that big it's not quite
Medallion.
flower, the big medallion,
Yeah.
right? It would have been all chopped up, it would have been all over the place and clearly wouldn't have looked right. So this is what we do here in the custom workroom industry. We think it through, we design, and we fabricate precisely to how the window is positioned and architected. And then another little caveat here that we had to think about is, being that it's a corner window, we
Mm.
couldn't have just taken the two windows that are smack in the corner. Those are smaller as far as the valance is concerned than the rest of the windows. The
Hmm.
window itself is the same size. So let's say it's 27 to 30 inches. But that last element of the valance is less than that. The reason it's less than that is because if you think about it, the neither one of the valances in the corner goes all the way to the corner.
Hmm.
They have to stop and be mitered essentially, or at least meet in the corner. And that board is of a certain projection. And so whether it's 2.5 projection, 3.5, 5, whatever it is, that's the number of inches of the deduction that you have to take off of each element
Hmm.
uh, of the or section of the valance. So that part needed to be thought through as well.
So going back to what you were saying about the repeat and
Hmm.
everything else, because it is a fairly large, it looks like it is a fairly large repeat. So was it the kind of thing that you had the discussion with the designer in terms of like what part of the repeat you wanted to showcase? Because how deep are these valances?
So these were about 18 inches, actually,
Okay.
18 to 20 or so.
So
Um, oh my
smaller
gosh, so
than,
much math.
yeah.
Yes, IFDA Philly. Renee, is that you, or who is
Mhm.
joining us under
Yeah.
the IFDA Philly?
Yes, a lot of math
um,
goes into it.
yeah, you're absolutely right. A lot of math goes, yes, a lot of math goes into custom window treatments and in valances and figuring out bracket deductions and many, many other things. Like, who would have thunk? That's you got to know algebra or at least basic math to figure this
Yeah.
out. But to go back to your question, Kim, so this was the fabric where there was only yes, it's Renee. Hi, honey. I was just talking to her yesterday on the phone. So this was the pattern where sometimes where you have large pattern, there's actually different elements of the pattern
Right.
that you can pick. Like there's a flower here and a cabana there and a man rowing a boat here.
Yeah.
All right. In this particular fabric, this big section, it's like I'm trying to look here. It's like a flower
Mhm.
thingamajig. This was the main repeat, and then it
Right.
truly repeated on the fabric. It repeated horizontally
Yeah.
and it repeated vertically.
Vertically. Yeah.
So there's only one choice to pick
Mm.
from, thankfully.
So, but with that, like if the repeat sometimes, because sometimes we run into this case where the repeat is larger than, say,
Hmm.
whatever the said
Mm,
section that
yeah,
we're going to be framing
cutting
out,
it
so,
off.
you know,
Yeah,
so to speak. So then it's like,
yeah,
do we go with this part of the pink flower or that
right.
part of the pink flower? So it is,
Definitely.
there is a lot of conversation that happens with larger repeats.
A hundred percent.
We should probably do an episode on large repeats.
We probably should.
Mhm.
All right, let's see what we have next. Oh, this is a close-up
Nice.
of this. Yep, so you can see this is the left portion of the corner valance, and you can see the kick pleat all the
Right
way
in the
on the
corner.
side. Hmm.
Okay, so this next project was one we also just did. We completed about 2 weeks ago. This person, again, they had a covered outdoor sunroom, so to speak. And what we did was we put exterior solar screen shades to really help close it off and shade the space. So it's open, most of the times, but when you want to close it off and you don't want to obstruct your view, but you
Mhm,
still want the shade, it's the same way you would do it on the inside of a home. You have
mhm,
those capabilities to really do that and kind of close off the space of your patio that way. Now,
mhm,
these are just like a solar screen for the interior, the exterior, perfect, has cassettes that they roll up into, and they have cables that they run on, guide wires to help keep them in place because they are on the outside. So you can see here how it really just creates, again, another portion of the home. So if you're sitting in your patio and you're sitting there and you're getting a lot of sun and you're like, I really can't enjoy this space. I, spent all this money to have this lovely outdoor space and I kind of want it to have dual purpose, you can
mhm,
put a shade there. And what's nice about it with the solar screen shades, you can pick the percentage and the openness that you want. And for this one, I think this particular project, they might have gone with a 10. So you can
mhm.
still see out a fair
Yep.
amount.
Mhm. And Kim, I've noticed that in both cases, I think it was in previous cases as well, you went with the black fabric or a
Yes.
dark fabric. Talk to us about that.
So
That's not by chance either.
no, that isn't. So I actually learned this too from Rich, one of our awning staff, who's on our awning sales team here, that the black you actually can see out better with the black than you can
Yeah.
with the white. So especially from the outside. And I know a lot of people are like probably thinking like black, wow, that's really risky outside. How dirty does it get? Do you see all the spots? But it doesn't reflect it with the white. I guess the white reflects the light a lot more. So the black is a lot easier to see through, and it almost feels like that there's nothing on the window or the structure.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right. That's what I tell people all the time. Sometimes they are a little scared of a black fabric, but
Hmm.
really, if you're looking for a window treatment that allows you to see your view
Hmm.
and still preserve your view, you really have to go with the darker fabric because
Hmm.
through it you can see pretty much everything that you have outside, whereas white really obstructs it.
Right. Exactly.
All right. Okay. And here is another sunroom that we did here at Battaglia Inc. This was for a designer, Lita Dirks and Company. That's actually a designer out of Colorado, but they do a lot of model homes on the East Coast. So they contacted us about a year and a half ago. They were looking for a new workroom and a new window treatment specialist. And we've had a wonderful relationship now for about a year and a half. This was
Nice.
for a builder called Traditions of America, and they did a huge development in the Lehigh Valley. Anybody who's from this area, from Philly area, knows Lehigh Valley as well, and you, Kim, as well from New Jersey,
Hmm.
knows Lehigh Valley is really expanding. There's some great ski resorts and summer resorts up there. So that's definitely an area that is building up. So this builder, Traditions of America, has created a huge development, and they had 5 different models, and Lita Dirks decorated and essentially designed all 5 models and had us do the window treatments. So this is a lovely sunroom where it's the customer would just have a cup of coffee and read their book, or have a great conversation maybe on a Friday night with a glass of wine and another couple. This was actually a 55 plus community too.
Mm.
So it's a perfect place, a
Yes.
space for another couple to come over on a Friday night and have a glass of wine and just to chat about their busy week. So, and we framed the windows. You can see that we didn't cover the windows. The privacy wasn't an issue here. They wanted to have all the sun in the world. So all we did was just framed it on the sides with simple drapery panels with short rods, and called it a day. So it doesn't have to be fancy. You can take a sunroom and you may either put a shade on it if you really need to, or a blind. But in this case, you can see that just framing it was just enough. Or in the previous case, just putting a valance, just something at the top, is just enough as well. So our idea here, our mission, is to show you the different options of treating
Mhm.
the very similar space.
Yeah. It's oftentimes, do you find that, well, I guess it depends on the use of the sunroom and how people want to use it. If they, a lot of times it's just a matter of, is it just something decorative, or are you truly getting a lot of sun in your sunroom and it's a matter,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah,
It's where it's
yeah,
positioned. Sunrooms don't always get a lot of sun,
sun.
right? Sometimes they
Mhm.
just get a lot of light,
Yeah,
depending which side it faces.
yeah.
And also, it depends on when the family uses it. You know, if
Mhm.
it's a retired family and they use it all day long and they do get a lot of sun, and if they watch TV in there, then yes, for sure, it needs to be covered. If it's a family that is at a different stage of their life and they're only using it on Saturday night or Sunday night or whenever the sun is, almost down, what it's just the functionality of it, the use of it, the purpose of it, practicality
Mhm.
is different by every family.
Perfect. Nicely
All
done.
right. Thank you.
Alrighty, everyone. That concludes today's episode. But before you go, we have a couple of goodies that we want to share with you. If you are new to the window treatment market, Luann wrote an ebook a couple years ago. Architectural Digest isn't coming 10 things you know about custom window treatments. So if you want to get your copy, head on over to windowworksnj.com to get your free ebook.
Hmm. And from Vitalia Inc., we also have a free gift for you that you can grab on our website. It's vitaliainc.com. It is a curated lookbook filled with inspiration and education, lots of ideas, lots of eye candy, as well as some excerpts from the presentations that I've personally done for trade associations, where I get into some of the technical terms. So whether you want to have pure inspiration or whether you have a little bit of knowledge and terminology and education about window treatments, this is a resource for you, and it's free on our website.
And to keep up with all things Miss Luann Igara, because she is hashtag one very busy lady, and there's a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipeline with us being able to go to High Point again and things like that. So a lot of cool things happening in the fall. Head on over to luannigara.com and to listen to Vita and Luann's audio version of Window Treatment Friday. You could also find all their episodes there.
So thank you so much, you guys, for joining us. If you're still here with us, this was episode number 61 of WTF Live, which stands for Window Treatment Live. It also does stand for the WTF, because if you've ever done window treatments, you know there are some real WTF moments in our lives. But here at Vitalia Inc., we try to not just avoid them, sometimes they're unavoidable, but we try to shield our designers from the WTF moments, because we are the ones who take care of them so that they don't have to stress about them. So if you guys, a designer, if you're a design firm or one person designer in the Philadelphia area looking for support with window treatments, we are that company for you. We are a one-stop shop. We're a go-to resource. We're a concierge level white glove service exclusively for interior designers ready to fly first class in the world of window treatment. So DM, PM, call, email, and I'm happy to talk to you. Oops.
And if you are in the New Jersey and New York area and you have a window treatment or awning project, we would be happy to help you and take away having to figure out all those nitty details on, how far down the valance has to go, where the repeat should be placed, how far the arm should project on the awning.
How
We
to do the math.
Yeah, how to figure out all that math. We take care of all those details for you. So follow us on Instagram and Facebook at WindowWorks. You can send us an email as well. We'd love to hear from you.
Thank you so much for joining us today, you guys. We're here every Friday. We are on at new time. Kim and I are experimenting. We're going to be at 9 a.m. from now on
Yes.
until it doesn't work. So we'll see. We're really liking this new time. We're
Hmm.
noticing that people are engaging more and they're here, and it's actually working out great for our schedules too. So it seems like a win-win for everybody.
Sure
But
does.
either whichever time, we're here every Friday, as it stands in our states in our name, right, Kim? Because if
Yes.
it's Friday.
It's a Window Treatment Friday Live.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Bye.